off with some music, and the Croat is dressing up. Now I'm curious to know what he was dressing up for. Do you guys think him and the Dharma, either he likes the Dharma or they have like something going?
I thought that he just wanted to feel like high society. He's always been on the bottom rung of society, and that's why he was putting on, like proper stuff. He wants to feel like he has a smoking jacket on. That's what it is a smoking jacket. He wants to feel like he's up there now. He's finally made it to the top. He's an important person, and that's kind of what was going through.
What about you, JG?
I agree with that. No, everybody wants to feel like they're at the top, right? And even though Dom is at the top at this point, he feels like he's second in command, right? And now Negan's kind of coming up, to quote the Godfather too. I was stepped over, Mike. I'm type of one of those things, right? So, and we see like when Negan says, "Hey, nice does," and then Dom is like, "What the hell are you wearing?" Right? So, yeah,
that's it.
It's funny. Because I'm going to say they may not have had something going, but I think the Crow was dressing up because he wanted some nookie. You know what I mean?
They had a bad relationship at the time, though.
Yeah, he still want to give her the business. You know what I mean? To soften her up. You give the business right, and you can get them to do whatever they want you to do, whatever you want them to do. You know what I mean? You got to lay that. You got to lay.
He's that much of a lazy man.
He might not be. JG said nah, but
I think Dom was more of a lady lover than a man. No offense.
Really?
I got that vibe from her.
Really? Huh.
I would not be surprised. Yeah, I think the crowd is much younger than she is.
Yeah, but slim pickings in this era. You know what I mean? Very slim pickings. There ain't much to pick from. That's why I was like, Herschel probably got a wash. You know what I mean? That's why he's doing what he's doing.
I understand, but I'm just saying, even if it could be slim pickings, you still don't want to. There's some things you just don't want to do, and you definitely don't want to have to rely on the biter.
Yeah, for real. Well, you're damn right. Yeah, you're damn right on that.
That's
she used way too much teeth. You know what I mean? We can't be doing none of that. No. That shit hurts. Anyways, back on track because we went a little bit off rail there. So we see this scene here, and we see a bunch of people going into where they have one of their, I guess, a power grid, and they're cutting the power grid. Now, I can't. Did they pass the menthol or something? I don't think they did, but it's just they're cutting off the power grid. But when you saw that, did you guys think it was Maggie's crew?
I did.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
I didn't think it was Maggie's because if she had control of knew where any of that stuff was, then why wouldn't she just take it, the methane?
Well, by this point, Negan kind of gave her information, right? So we don't know if this is the spot that Negan gave her. But for me, right away, I was like, nah, that's the Bruegel. That's the Bruegel doing that.
The Bruegel said, I have a plan. We're going to go further. And I'm like, okay, this is the Bruegel. He's setting them up. This is going to backfire on everybody.
100%. Now, at first, I was kind of, maybe it was, but they didn't show anybody that we've seen from Maggie's crew. So I was like, maybe it was. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, nah, that's not them. And then when we get to the part where they try to say who it is, I knew it wasn't them either. You know what I mean? Like it was hands down not them. So yeah, so I definitely found that interesting. So we see they cut it, the power goes out. We have the Croat, he's looking out the glass, and then boom, a zombie hits up. It's funny because I always thought he was on the sixth floor or like a high rise, you know what I mean? And then when I seen the zombie, I'm like, oh, and then I looked and I'm like, okay, he's actually in a store.
Yep.
Right? He's in a store. So he just walked into the store, grabbed the suits, and then did what he had to do. So that was the opening. Then we get Maggie and Percy. Is that the name Percy? Pearly. That's it. Pearly.
Soft ass. I can't stand this guy.
I think we'll have a lot of problems with him going forward. I'm telling you.
Yeah, me too. because the first season, I thought he was a badass. I was like, oh, this guy's a badass. You know what I mean? Like he had a cowboy hat. He was going after Negan, and he was like pretty much holding his own at one point. And then like this season, I guess Crow had caught him. Negan saved him, and all of a sudden he's soft now. You know what I mean? Like, wait a minute. Or maybe he just sees he can do things differently than what he's been doing it. I guess I don't know. What do you guys think?
When you're a father to two girls, or two or three girls, he has three girls. I think that's what it is, and he's not. They know where they are, so he's trying to make a better life for them. But he's just rationalizing everything he's doing. Like, you know, he's like, well, I'm doing it for them, so it's not that bad if I do this. It's not that bad if I do this. And when you a person that does that over and over again, I mean, you get to a place where you realize you can't even look yourself in the face. Can't look yourself in the eyes, and that's why he's no longer this tough guy. He just continues to rationalize, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not the real bad guy. You know, they are. You know, and then he's going to realize at the end that he is the bad guy. Because the whole thing I was even thinking about, well, we've seen Maggie in all that blood looking like she's looking for vengeance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually something's going to happen that he's going to cause her to have to seek vengeance on Pearlie. He's a problem. And he's rationalizing, and eventually he's going to have to turn, and I think Maggie kills him.
Ooh. JG, what do you think?
No, Brian, now that you mentioned that, maybe this whole soft thing he's got going on, maybe that's just a ploy.
Yes, exactly.
Or to make him think he's not, as, like you said, make him not as dangerous as he really is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he's the one playing everybody because he's the only one that's still surviving. So that's a good point, Brian. Man, I didn't think about that.
That would be interesting.
That would definitely be interesting if that's what he's doing. And I think it would make it for a better character. Like, oh, okay, so you were just faking it all the time. But I don't know. I just feel like he's changed. He said, y'all already started reviewing. I'll catch Spoiler Kings later. No problem, brother.
Gotcha.
No problem. No problem. So to me, it's like, as I start to think about it, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe he changed. I don't know. It's weird. We'll see what happens with him. But I liked him in the first season better when he was a lot harder. You know what I mean? So they're having a little conversation, and then Maggie goes and sits down with Herschel, and they have a little talk. And
this is the first time I didn't hate Herschel.
Oh, really?
This is the first time in like this is episode 5. First time I didn't hate Herschel.
Okay, explain why you didn't hate him.
I feel like he finally gave a little honesty. He finally told everybody what's going on. He opened up a little bit. He stopped being a dumbass kid and started to realize, okay, what I'm doing is there's consequences to my actions. So he's literally starting to understand that. Before those things, I'm like, man, you're just an idiot, and you pissing me off. Everything you do. You know, but I feel like he seems like he's growing up, and it's almost like you can't have two dumbass kids at the same time. So they're letting Herschel not be a dumbass and let Jeannie take over the new dumbass title.
So, JG, what did you think of this scene? Because I have an issue with it.
I still can't stand Herschel. I'm sorry, he's still getting on my nerves.
Facts.
He's like he's confused. He don't know what side he wants to be on. He's like, honestly, but he's half honest at the same time, right? And so, and Maggie still, you know, she's like any mother would probably be, still blinded a little bit. It's like 100. This kid's trying to get all y'all killed.
Yeah,
like Uncle said, fuck them kids.
100%, and that's the reason why. Because Maggie asked him, right? She asked him, was it you that set off the smoke detector, the thing, the signal? And he changes the subject right away.
Exactly.
And Maggie lets it go. And I'd have been like, no, answer my effing question. Did you do this? And Maggie knows he did, right? So at least now you got to give him the chance to tell the truth. He tells the truth, okay, you can move on. But if he doesn't, then you know where you stand with that. You know what I'm saying? So I think
we all know that he finally does tell the truth. So that's what's like. I hate him less because we know he finally does say, you know, what I did.
No, he never tells her that he actually did it, though, right?
Doesn't he tell you, say, well, I wasn't looking for you by the river, but then
Oh
I saw
yeah,
these things,
right,
and I
yeah,
decided to go ahead and do it. So he does open up and tell everything that actually happened.
Yeah. You're correct. He ends up saying that. Yeah. JG,
Man,
still don't like him.
It's too little, too late, man. You know, you see all this mess you caused because of it. It's like, dude, man, I really think he gonna die. That's what gonna put Maggie over the edge.
Ooh.
One of these kids, either one of the kids or both of the kids, gonna die. Something get those kids.
I would more say Jenny than him. I think Maggie's been through way too much right now, so I don't think they want to give her that kind of heartache. You know what I mean? But like I said last episode, I could kind of see, and even now with the Croat being in charge, I could see them maybe killing Negan's kid, and Maggie kind of having an understanding of what, or Negan having an understanding of what Maggie went through. You know what I mean? And Maggie having an understanding what Negan's gonna go through because she went through it. So I have a feeling that they might do something like that.
I don't think we're going to see Negan's kid or wife this entire season.
No, not this season. Yeah.
So, but I think exactly what you just said is going to happen, but it's going to happen with Jenny. No matter what Negan says, he still has a very soft spot for Jenny. Though Jenny's trying to kill him, he sees her, he's going to this melt. Like he like literally everything. I'm trying to do whatever. I know what I did was wrong. I'm trying to do good by you. So he's going to even understand when he sees the gun and all that stuff. But if the Croat kills her because she points a gun at him, he's going to go nuts. And then Mac will understand. Oh, he just lost someone he saw as like a child, not his actual child, but someone he saw like that.
It's funny because I'm not 100% convinced that Jenny wants to kill Negan. I'm still not 100% convinced on that. I think she was just playing the role when she had that conversation with Navari, and I think she was just like, because she know, like, you know, Negan's a criminal. She was with Negan when they were hunting him down and all kinds of stuff. So I think she has to be a little bit. I think she's a lot smarter than we give her credit for, even though she did some fucked up shit in this episode. You know what I mean? Yeah. I still think. I don't
think she's all that. I think she's very impressionable, right? Because I mean, you look at both Herschel and Jenny, right? It's like this whole time they're taught to hate Negan. Then Maggie, why the hell are you still trying to save this dude? We're supposed to hate him this much, because Jenny says it. Why didn't you tell me you were trying to, right? So Maggie's nobody's being honest really in this whole thing.
The
Maggie's not really. Go ahead, bro.
Kids don't know, right? And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of this, is that kids just have no clue. You know, so they having these problems back and forth because they don't know that I should hate you, but do I really hate you? So if it comes down to it and I have to actually do something about it, will I do anything about it? Probably not.
Yeah, I feel you. Definitely interesting. So now Negan walks in and he sees the Dama, and she's there and she's talking to her rat. You know what I mean? And then he walks out. He doesn't say anything, and Croat comes. Perfect timing. Like, Croat comes just as Negan walks out, so he doesn't look like he's in there. And then they go inside, and they're having a conversation. What did you guys think of this conversation? I would play it, but then I'm gonna get fucking copyright claimed. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Go ahead,
bro. What did you guys?
So it was. First of all, it was a leading conversation, but the Croat and the Dama was going down the wrong place. I mean, the Croat was literally getting. She was talking about the Croat. The Dama was talking about his jacket, like, why are you doing this stupid stuff? She was calling everything about him stupid. Every action that he made stupid. She was definitely downing him. So overall, like, you know, this opened up so many doors for Negan to take advantage of that situation and push the buttons the way he wanted to push it. I think the whole conversation was about Negan starting to realize that he's getting the things that he wants. He's figuring out all the things that's going on, and he's going to be able to use all these people. He's playing chess, but they're playing checkers.
Definitely, 100%. What do you think, JG?
Yeah, it's a situation like we talked about the whole scene stuff where men get mentally abused too. She was basically mentally abusing this guy, and you can see the look in Negan's eyes, like, dude, man, It's kind of harsh, right?
He's like, you ain't gonna say that to me.
Exactly, right? And so it's the Croat. It's you see him dying slowly inside, right? Because like even like I keep saying it, he says everything I've done for you, all based on all the lies I've taken, all the shit I've done. This how you want to talk to me? This how you gonna like? This point where this is the beginning of his blow up.
Yes.
This is the beginning where he's like, okay, I'm about to blow up, right? And we see, it's gonna be the next scene next where he tries to take in his own hands, and bam, what happens, right? So,
and you know it's funny because I go back to what you said, right, with the jealousy, because when he's talking, she's like giving him all kinds of crap, and then she's praising Negan. Oh yeah, Negan did a great job. Negan did this, you know what I mean? And then she's like, you need to take care of your shit, right? Because Negan's like, where they're like, okay, we need to go see this other group, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go, and she's like, no, you're not gonna go. Negan's gonna go. You know what I mean? Like what you did last time, how the hell did that work out for you? Which it didn't. You know what I mean? You want to bring the methane? She's like, no, Negan's gonna go. And you could kind of see that he was kind of upset. You know what I mean? As Christos, yeah, that's his name. So she was kind of upset. He was kind of upset, and I think that's where the jealousy, like JG said, for Negan comes in. So not only is he not, worshiping Negan's anymore, he's really jealous of Negan, because before Negan got in there, he was the one that the Dharma looked up to. He was the one that the Dharma sent out to do shit, and now it's Negan. So yeah, I definitely think there's jealousy there. Go ahead,
that's
Brian.
interesting you guys say that, because I'm in my mind, Negan ended all that by telling him, man, you can't let her talk to you like that. You part of this. Negan is playing like like he walks out like, yes, boss. He's telling that's what he's saying to the Croat, making the Croat realize like the Negan's like, I don't want any of this. I'm just doing this because you know why I am my kids, right? But hey, boss, she shouldn't be talking to you like that. He's using that. I don't think the Croat still hates him. He does realize that Negan's not the same Negan, but I don't think he's mad at Negan for for what the Dharma's doing. I think that's why Negan's so smart, because he's continuously telling him, I know you are the reason you should be the one doing all this stuff. You're the one making all the good calls. Even after he kills, we'll get there, Christoph. When he kills them, like he knows I can't just go off on him because I need him on my side. I still need to manipulate him.
And last week, when we did it, we were talking about this scene right here where Negan says, I'm all that you got. And she says, I wouldn't be too sure of that. Yep. You know what's funny? We haven't seen that yet. So I think that's why maybe people are saying, or at least in the video, that she's still alive, that someone who she has in the background that no one knows about helped her in this situation get out of that fire, which would be very interesting. Right?
It's possible because she seems to have all this information. We're trying to figure out how the heck is she getting all this information? So it's possible.
100%. Unless we find out that the Croat ended up going back to save her, right? But I doubt that. But I definitely think, because I remember when we saw the trailer, it was like, oh, they're going to be in trouble, and Negan's going to be like, well, I'm the only one you got. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like that. It was like he was saying that because he wants to get his stuff out there. He's like, oh, you don't. She's like, no, don't worry, I'm not. You're not. So she's smarter than we think she is. Like here, I wouldn't be sure about that. So I'm pretty sure she might still be alive. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not going to say I'm sure. It wouldn't surprise me.
I cheat. I look at IMDb. They tell you the next 2 episodes. I know she's not in the next 2 or 3 episodes.
Okay.
I'm thinking she might be done.
So. Yeah. I, more or less, she is done. I think so too. I'm just saying, if she did survive, it wouldn't surprise me. You know what I mean? If someone
came one that she's like a cockroach. It's hard to kill her.
Yeah, 100%. So now we get Pearlie, Herschel, and Maggie going back to the little group that they had, and when they get there, they get stopped by their own people, New Babylon. And it seems that Navarre has decided to take over and hold everyone hostage. What did you guys think when you saw this?
Saw it coming, right? You knew she's she was just waiting for her chance. If you walk out and leave her with these people, you know she's going to kill everybody. This is what she does. It's the only thing she knows. We heard the story, right? You know, we know from Jenny from last episode that how she, you know, so when she was always alone, she was alone all those times. So if she has something she's fighting for, she's only going to go do it exactly that same way. She's going to fight for that one. She doesn't have any connection to anything else. So she's looking for an opportunity to kill everybody and then bring them to the New Babylon the way she knows how. She only knows rules and regulations, and she's going to do exactly the way that they planned it out. Has no feelings. Catch no feelings.
Facts, 100%. What do you think, JG?
Remember, was it the first or second episode? I said she's not a diplomat. She's one of those, hey, fire and brimstone, this is what it is. This is how it's going to be done. I don't care whose lives are in the way. As long as it's not mine, I'm good, right? That's why you need that one black, I forgot her name, the one that died. You needed her to be the leader because she was that balance between the two.
Yeah.
Now that she's gone, you know, Pearly ain't going to do shit. So now she's got full control, and we see she's wielding it with an iron fist. And she
100%.
does not care. She gives 0 ifs.
And it's funny too, because even though, you know, like she has information that Pearly let Negan live. So that's right there. You lied, it's treason. And then Maggie decides to back him up. So it's treason for her too, because it seemed like at this point she was only going to arrest Pearly until Maggie said, "Oh no, I seen him. That's like, okay, well, since you're gonna lie, you're coming with us too. You know what I mean?" And then he tries to say, you know, we met Negan. Negan knows where it is. We need him. So she's telling him, all right, well, you're gonna get Negan and bring him to us. And Maggie's like, why would I do that? Because I'm gonna keep your kid. You know what I mean? So they end up taking, and Maggie decides she's gonna, like, you know, fight. That's when Jenny pulls out the gun and points it at Maggie. I was like, oh, you little fucker.
I would have snatched that gun, and if I'm a woman, I don't have to worry about that. I'm punching her in the face. You deserve a mouth shot. Because you know what? If it was a young boy and that happened to me, I'm grabbing the gun, mouth shot immediately.
Facts. It's like she forgot everything that happened in fucking season 1. These two people saved your ass. You know what I mean?
Like in season 2, she just saved her ass when she had to fight the 20 zombies.
Oh,
and she
100%.
Killed.
Yeah, 100%. So Jenny did some stupid shit. They take Maggie and Herschel. They lock them up. And that's when she's like, oh, well, did you know you were going to see Negan? You know, and she's kind of upset that she didn't. And that's what I'm saying. She's like, why didn't you tell me? It's like, because you had a gun. So Maggie knew about the gun and all of that. But I'm still, even with this stuff that's happening now, I'm not 100% convinced that she's actually trying to kill Negan. Could be, but I don't know. Feels maybe she just wants to make Negan think. Or people like pull the gun on, why did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then they have that conversation and I'm sorry type of shit. You know what I mean? Like they do all the time. But I don't know. You guys think she really trying to kill Negan?
I think she thinks she wants to kill Negan.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
As soon as she knows him, she sees him, and she realizes all the stuff that they've been through. And Negan saved her ass.
Yeah.
He raised her. Like, really, I mean, yes, you killed my father. What, dude? I've also saved your life 15 times, and I was literally the one caring for you. So she's forgotten all that stuff, and she's probably more mad that he's gone. Like, I can see the problems her saying, and then you left, and you left me.
That
and you killed my father, and you left me. Like, you know, that's going to be the conversation, and I can see that really happening.
Absolutely, which would kind of mirror the kind of issue that Maggie is having with Herschel, right? So yeah,
exactly.
What do you think, JG?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they were both taught to hate Negan. No matter what Negan does, he's still evil. He still needs to be done away with, right? And Maggie's kind of, you know, playing that, and I don't blame her. It's a apocalyptic world, survival's needed. My enemy is my friend. I'd rather have him as my ally for now than be my enemy. Because it can help me and my child survive. So, but because she didn't really relay that message to them, in which we all understand why, because kids that young can't understand the logic behind it. But yeah, there was.
I can't
I hate
lie,
that she
though.
had to go out like that, though.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, JD. I wanted to see these two have a real fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
I
yeah.
thought they were gonna throw down and have a wicked fight. That's what I wanted to see. So I'm with you. I didn't like the way she went
So I'm
out
kind of
either.
wondering, is she as tough as she trying to make herself out to be? Or is she only really
Facts.
tough because she has an army behind her?
Facts.
'Cause we ain't seen her
Facts.
throw hands on anybody. She just runs her
Facts.
mouth a lot. So I'm just kind of
Facts.
curious.
And
I
you
almost said
figure,
something. I almost said
Yeah,
something
go-
that what got me in trouble real much, a lot.
Uh-uh.
You know, I'm just saying about some women, some like to run their mouth a lot and don't want to be about that. I'm just saying that's possible. But you already see Maggie ain't just running her mouth. She about that. She
Yeah.
walking around killing zombies. You know,
Mhm.
and
And
when we saw Navarro, like when she was going wild, she was pushing zombies, you know, but she's not about that life. She's not about stabbing people in their head and moving on to the next one. She ain't about that life. So I think she was always going to be that problem,
Mhm.
that pushover, you know, that wants to pretend like you all about it when you got a gun, but when it's about hand-to-hand combat, you ain't about that life.
And just so you guys know, the views of the Spoiler King, Brian from the Spoiler Kings, do not reflect the views of Bigger Ford Entertainment. I'm just
Reflect
saying.
mine. I'm saying they reflect mine. I'll be real with you.
I won't say it straight out because my wife would come up here and take
Exactly.
my
And then slap you in the back of your head and say, "Who's not about it?" You know what I mean?
Hey, I want to talk about you, baby. Some people ain't all about that life.
Facts. And it's funny too, because I think this also confirms what we've always said, that Negan is doing what he's doing because he feels like he owes Maggie. And Herschel just said that. And I brought 100%. Like I said, Negan has now a lot of regrets for killing Glenn, right?
Oh,
so whatever he can do, he's trying to do to make it up for Maggie, you know. And even that scene last week where he's like, I'm the one putting everything on the line for you. You know what I mean? So that's why I think
did it. And then he still did it again.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So that's why I think at a certain point when we hear that sound bite where it's like, oh, you wanted Negan dead, now you want to save him. Negan, she's gonna realize the stuff that Negan has sacrificed for her. You know what I mean? Things he's done for her. Negan wouldn't be there if it wasn't for her. He went there to help her save fucking Herschel. So
yeah, and when you talk about Jenny, remember, Jenny went all the way to Manhattan, right? I just passed this episode. Like she traveled all the way to Manhattan to be with by Negan's side, and then all of a sudden he turned and he's upset with her and yelling at her, and he sends her back, and she was hurt. She's butt hurt right now. You know what I'm saying? She's upset with him, and that's what she said. I could kill him because he killed my father. No, but it really is that the man that you saw as the new person that was taking over as your father rejected you in the way that you thought. At least you see it as a rejection, and he sees it as I'm taking care of you.
I'm trying to save you. Yeah, I'm trying to save you.
But she's a kid, so sees it that way. And eventually she's gonna get to that point where she has a gun pointed at him and she realizes all that. He's gonna tell her, I sent you back to save your life. Why do you keep on coming here?
You know what you said that, Brian? It makes Negan and Maggie are just alike. Right? They neither one of them articulate why they do what they do. They just do it.
And
when it comes back on, it's like, that's a good point, Brian.
Yeah, and you guys are 100% correct. I do definitely agree with that. Now we have the Croat who's getting his shit together, so he's going to look, find out what happens, and telling this guy, yeah, it makes us look weak. We got to make sure that we fix this. And then he looks down as he's talking and he sees something, right? And they don't show what it is, but he gives a little smile like, oh, interesting. So at that point, I was like, I wonder what he found. But yeah, I kind of knew it was kind of set up, especially the way it was. Go ahead.
He should know. Like, through all the stuff and the good things that he's done, he should know that's a setup. But he's so blinded by what the Dom is doing to him that he's not even rationally thinking. He should have saw the knife and said, why the hell would he drop this knife? And we all know this is the knife that he has all the time.
You know what I mean? And then who's just dropping their knife and like it's not like they did it and they had a bunch of people chasing them and they had to get out there quick. No. So why would he just drop his knife there like that? You know what I'm saying? Like no one does that. So Maggie goes off. She's going to go and find Negan. At least that's what we think. And we have Negan now. Negan is going to see this guy. But first we have a conversation with Roxana. Roxana, I'm glad they put her name there. And Pearlie, and they're having a conversation and they're talking about, you know, what's going to happen to her and blah, 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 blah. What do you guys think of this conversation?
It was a good conversation. This was Roxana telling him, he's like, Pearlie, once again, rationalizing, what's the point of my life if for me, you know, to just die over nothing? Instead of, you know, actually join something and do something good with my life. And then Roxana tells him basically, no, you're sacrificing. You're doing something for the greater good. So if you're doing something for the greater good, it's never dying for nothing. It's literally doing it for a reason. You're doing it because you believe in it. You do it for the people that are following you. You're doing it for everything that who you are. You're not. Morality is not what you do in front of everybody. It's what you do in the shadows. It's what you do when it's no longer easy to do. You know, what's the point? What's the point of me being a leader and me saying I love you in front when it's all good? I'm gonna do it when it's bad, and I'm still gonna stand by these morals. And I think was a seed put there for Pearlie, because Pearlie's going to go the wrong side, and this seed might grow and make him realize
to bring him back. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. That's why this was a good conversation, because it kind of and I think with all of the things that Pearlie's been through, well, I mean, it hasn't been much, but all the people he's met, it's what's changing him. You know what I mean? It's what's making him think that, well, what we were doing before New Babylon isn't the way we should be doing things. You know what I mean? And this conversation with her, and then there's another one that they have later on, are going to be conversations that are probably he's going to come back to his mind, which will bring him back to his senses. Like for example, I could see when the shit is hitting the fan. You know what I mean? He's on the other side, shit hits the fan, and then he finally does the right thing and helps Negan and Maggie or something like that. You know what I mean? So
yep.
I can see that. What do you think, JG?
I think this was a scene that kind of brought normalcy to an apocalyptic world. This is a conversation about duty. That is your duty to do good, even though bad things may come out of it. Even though you may not get what you want out of it, even though you might risk your life, it is your duty to do common good. And that's what she talks about the war and everything, right? Like, hey, it was my duty to go over there, even though it wasn't we were sent there for the wrong reasons. It was still my duty to protect the United States. I did it as a service, and what you're doing is a service. But I want Pearlie to man up. This dude getting on my nerves, man. Man up.
So he telling her, like, listen, you should join New Babylon. If you don't, they're gonna kill you. And she tells a story about her uncle, I think her father, one of the two. And she's like, he was doing all kinds of things, and then all of a sudden they sent him to a war that he knew nothing about, and then he died. And she says, that was dying for nothing, which I was like, oh, that's tough, because that's kind of how I feel about it sometimes, So we get to another scene where Negan finally gets to go see whatever his name, Christos. To go see Christos, tell him we're bearing gifts. And Christos is like, nah, bro, I don't know what the hell you think you are coming here, but he
was about that life too. He was like, look, you about to have problems, brother. I told you not to come over here.
He said, you done messed up. You know what I mean? So Negan's telling him basically the Bruegel is in, everybody's in, you need to fight, off New Babylon. And he's complaining about him fighting. And he takes Negan's weapon. And then as they're talking, we hear, Papa, Papa. And his two little daughters come in. They speak Dutch. His wife comes in. And then Negan says, you know what? I think there's been a little bit of a misunderstanding. He says, you are just doing this to protect your family. And trust me, I get it.
We're not too different.
Yeah, exactly. And I really loved this part because it shows, Negan I is all about family and protecting family. And even when he was doing bad shit, he was protecting Sanctuary, right? Oh man, I appreciate this, man. I do appreciate this. Thank you, Spoiler Kings, for becoming a member. Always a pleasure. But yeah, but even when Negan was with the Sanctuary, it was still about protecting his family, right? Because that was his family. And Rick and those motherfuckers started that war.
Yep.
Rick went in there
Mhm.
and killed Negan's people first. You know what I mean? So now Negan was extorting Hilltop and all the other colonies out there. Yes, 100%. And that's why they asked Rick, if you go and do this and help us out, we'll help you out. So Rick and his crew went and did what they had to do. But Rick's crew started that war. So so saying Negan coming back here and talking about, it was just a misunderstanding. I really enjoyed that part. What about you, Brian?
I think it was the first time Negan got to drop the act, be himself again, and show someone this is who I am too. It's okay for you to drop the act. We can have a real normal conversation now.
Facts.
Because we both know we're doing things to protect our people and we understand who we are. And it was so good that they did it this way too. And I was so mad that they did this with Christos, and then we don't have Christos anymore. I wanted him so much more because I felt like Negan have his own army now.
Yeah.
He has someone he could fight for.
Yeah.
And that's a real ally because he understands where they're coming from, and he can probably protect his kids, even and his wife even better.
100%. It seemed to me like there was a commonality that these two could have came up with. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, this is what you need to do. Negan could have advised him in certain things and stuff like that. So it was definitely interesting. What do you think, JG?
They always say there's nothing more fearful than a person with something to lose, right?
Facts.
And now that Negan sees, oh man, you got something to lose like I did, right? Like you said, that understanding. Now I'm kind of wondering, had he not seen those kids, what would have happened? Like how would Negan have approached it?
Facts.
But no, him sitting down in front of him, that kind of like a man-to-man normal conversation, right? I don't know if anybody sees one of those, gangland docs and all that stuff. When they're in front of the camera with the crew, they speak one way. Then they're behind closed doors. That human side comes out of them, right? They become a different person, the normal person who they are. And we look at the history of Negan, how we all hated him when at first, right? But then we grew to understand why he did what he did. Yeah. Even though innocent lives were taken, he had to do what he had to do, what he felt he had to do. And he's looking at this guy saying, yeah, like, hey,
he was a dick. Don't get me wrong.
He was a dick.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He was a dick, yeah. But he's looking at him like, damn, yeah, I was where you are right now. I feel you, bro. So I can talk you differently now, right? I don't have to approach you as like, oh, yeah, this dude, yeah, I don't have to bow up on you. I can really just sit down and have a normal conversation. We can have a common ground and actually have a real conversation until the little roach comes in to play and fucks everything up.
100%. And you know what's good about this too? Because this is the one guy, like when they first met, that Negan had an issue with, right? We're not joining, blah, blah, and then tased him. And now it's like, you know what? We are the same. You know what I mean? Like the two people that kind of disliked each other and went at each other can kind of find out, oh, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought it was. And he's like, I didn't think Negan would have thought it was as well, too. So commonality. I loved it. I loved it. Now we get Maggie, and she seems to go back into the house. And I didn't understand this scene at all. But Maggie opens up the door where Pearlie and Roxanne are and has a little conversation. And they're like, oh, no, we're going to get you out of here. And then she says, well, they're going to kill you. And he's like, no, not if they can't find me. And then she locks them back in there. I was like, wait, what? I didn't.
Because they didn't want to go with her. So if you don't want to go with me, then I can't take your risk of you coming with me.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. And then she just closes the door and runs out. Weird. So now we have the conversation with Negan. Negan's back there with Christos, and they're talking about, joining up. Christos was like, nah, we had to scavenge for food. We traded everything. We lost, and we lost because the Bruegel was a cheater, right? So he took everything from them. So they've been scavenging, and everything's been trying to feed their family. And he's like, doing the trade is different, but now you're asking for war. And Negan's basically telling him, listen, you need to have a seat at that table. Because if you don't have a seat at that table, they're going to pretty much wipe you out, So he's kind of, I think he kind of understood what, like, when they're having this conversation, it seems like they both understand each other. You know what I mean? And then as they're in the middle of the conversation, there's a knock on the door, and the Croat walks in. This fucking... He looks like Gollum. You know what I mean? Just fucking Gollum looking motherfucker. Walks in, and Negan's like, oh, it seems like we have made some common ground. And he's like, no, we can't have common ground with after what they did. So he's like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And then he tells him he didn't know that you were so smart to knock out 6th Avenue. Actually, it's not the same place that Negan told him, because Negan told him 5th Avenue, I believe. Yeah, so Negan told him 5th Avenue. So either Negan lied to them, which I don't think he did, or they have another. I think that's where the grid is, and the methane is on 5th Avenue.
On 5th Avenue, exactly. That's where the methane you can get. Yep.
Yeah,
and it's funny because the Croat looks like a rat, and it's funny because the Dama was playing with her rat. And I feel like it was a mirror of her playing with the Croat. What was going on? She was like, oh, you're my little rat. You're my pet. And the Croat is getting tired of being her pet and wanted to be her partner. And that was the issue, right? That's what the motivation. And then the whole thing with Negan and Christos, I feel like he basically saw himself. This is the beginning, what I really wanted. And he gave himself what he should have told him. Like,
right.
I wish someone would have told me this when I was in your situation. You have to fight to this point because you have to have a seat at the table. And he was really wasn't talking to him as much as he was talking to a younger self.
Yeah, agreed. JG.
Yeah, man. Damn. Just imagine what could have happened had this scene not have happened, right? How much more we could have had, right? But AMC, they write this shit the way they do, and you just gotta live with it. I didn't hate the scene. I just hate that things had to end the way it did. Correct, man. And I kind of wonder, was he doing this thinking they were getting to Dom's good graces again? Because we see what he does, and Negan kind of does, and Dama just like, yes, thank you. And so, well, maybe if I do it the way Negan does it, maybe I can get back in her good graces, right? And we see that's not how it works out. But yeah, it's. And I still kind of wonder because next thing he talks about, oh, I left the wife, the mother, the women, the kids alive. You have all that gas in there. I'm sure it seeped through those cracks. Everybody dead. Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Right. And And could there have been a better way for the Croat to do this instead of killing everybody? Where you still could have either taken Christoph and still had control of his group, and you still had a bigger army. Or was that jealousy and that all that stuff still playing his mind like, oh, maybe no one's maybe right. Maybe he did want some of the Dama's
Yeah.
What do you call the
We want some of that good.
Yeah, you want some of that old good, I guess.
I'm telling you,
old.
Croat ain't get no punani in a minute, so he looking at Dama like, you know what I mean? We could be
Dama
king
look like
queen of this
right now. Damn, I'm telling
you. She looked like a bag of powder. That's what's going to feel like.
Tara Jutsu, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, said, been a while since I watched The Walking Dead. Tried Dead City, but couldn't get into it. Want to try again just so I can finally know what happened with them and Michonne and Rick. So for the Michonne and Rick, you got to watch The Ones That Live. That's the Michonne and Rick show, and that'll tell you everything that happened there. But yeah, I would say stick with Dead City. It's really good. It's really good. Start from season 1 and then catch on. I get it that it has taste of Walking Dead, which was, kind of did its run and had people checking out and stuff like that. But I think they're doing a really good job of making this show kind of feel like seasons 1, 2, and 3 of The Walking Dead, like the best season. So I think they're doing a pretty good job of that. So
I had to do a rewatch of all of it, right, to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, the first 3 or 4 episodes were a lot like Walking Dead, the end of the last seasons, and it was not what I wanted. That like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th episodes really took off. And I think if you give it a try, you get to like the 6th episode, you're gonna really like it.
100%. That scene where Negan grabs that dude and is busting him through every glass. I was like, yo, that's what I'm talking about, bro. And then slices his belly open and just lets all the blood pour down
just
on
let him
everybody.
go.
I was like, that's sick. That's sick.
Like good in the pig.
Facts. And then the scene where he's spying in the methane and the black dude's behind him. And he says, you don't want to do this, brother. And the brother says, yes, I do. And we found out that he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed some of that. Yeah. So if we can, like Brian said, just stick to it. It gets a lot better. And this season so far started off fire and it's continuing to get better for me. But so we see the knife and he's telling him, oh, this is your knife. Now, Kristoff is kind of playing it off like maybe it was him, but I think on a certain level, he know like this not us. You know what I mean? I think he could have been a little bit more adamant at it, and I think that they do that in the shows to make you think that it was them that did it when we're gonna find out that it was the Bruegel. You know what I mean? So
when you say that, I kind of wonder, was there any point of him saying it wasn't him? Because they wouldn't have believed him.
You're right.
Yeah, so it's like, well, I'm gonna keep on being a hard ass. Like, no, why would I say it wasn't me? You're right. So
you show weakness in this show, you die.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Showing the weakness
definitely makes sense. So now Negan's like, listen to me. Whatever you're thinking, don't do it. Croat's too late. The gas canisters have been running since you got here, and you have about 30 seconds. Negan's like, God damn it. And
how does he know that? Like, is this a scientific thing that he's already done? He's taking notes on
that it's gonna last like 30 seconds, right? Yeah.
How?
Yeah, I have no idea. You're correct on that one. It's like, hey, how do you know it's only gonna take 30 seconds more? You know
what if they open the window?
Facts. or you know what I mean? Left the canisters there and went into another room. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, but obviously they didn't. So they start to pass out. He puts on his mask, grabs Negan, and then just starts chopping everybody on the ground. I was like, you mother effer. First, I was like, I didn't think it was going to, I thought they were just going to let, knock him out, leave, whatever, go tell the Dama. But no, he fucking killed them all. He killed them all. And then Negan, when he gets in the car, she's like, oh, don't worry, I left the kids and the women alive. I'm not a monster, And Negan says something, and he's like, well, the Dama told the Dama told me to, fix the situation. And Negan was like, kill them, though? Did she tell you to kill them? You know what I mean? And when he said that, I was like, okay, that's going to be an issue going forward. What do you think, JG?
I mean, like I said, I think he was trying to get in Dom's good graces, but now that you freaking slaughter some of your own people, it's like, I don't know, man. I hate this. I hate the scene because of what you could have done with it without killing them. So I'm just not a fan of it. And then look at Negan's face right there. He's like, oh, don't worry. Like the women that just left alive. Like, dude.
Like I'll tell you. I'll tell you what this scene does for me, though. This scene shows me that Croat is going to be worse than Dama, and he's not going to let Negan just run off with his son. Now that Dama's our daughter, or I think it was son, whatever, his child,
son.
Yeah.
It's his son.
Yeah, not gonna let Negan run off like that because you know what I mean? Like he's killing people. He's doing what he wants to do. He's irrational. You know what I mean? He doesn't think before he does things. So yeah, he's definitely gonna still use Negan. If the Dharma is really dead, he's gonna be the one that continues to say like, no, we still have your children. No, you still need to do this. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think Croat is gonna be an issue going forward. That's why I said you has to kill them. Then we go back to have a conversation with Herschel. Who's he talking to again?
He's talking to Jenny, right?
No, he's talking to.
No, it's on the.
No, yeah, no, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, what's this Negan, and he's, you know, she's basically trying to find out some information on Negan. Yeah, what's going on, and then Maggie comes in.
This fool right
sneaks up. Yeah, I know.
His eyes, man, he cannot. Oh my goodness.
You know, so Maggie comes in. Let me just fucking show it. I won't play it. Hopefully it doesn't copyright claim. Comes in, speed it up a little bit, Maggie, and then boom, knife to the neck. Right? I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. We're gonna get to see Maggie and this, and then this fucking Jenny comes in and points the gun at Herschel. What do you guys think about this?
My biggest thing was, where was Jenny sitting the whole time? Did Herschel know Jenny was there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Herschel irritates me, man. And maybe I don't know. It's just you're doing fine as Maggie's walking up. You know Maggie's back there, you sneak up. You're doing fine. At the last second, you kind of look over to the side. Like, what? Like, was that your intention of doing that? He's confusing me, man.
Right.
Now I was probably thinking that he was going to use the knife thing to hit Jenny with it. Maybe they could get away, but that didn't happen.
Brian?
I blame Maggie. You guys blame everyone else. I blame Maggie. If I'm badass enough to put a knife to your throat, I'm just going to kill people. Maggie kills monsters for a hobby. She just kills them and moves to the next one. So if you didn't want to have a conversation with Navarez, you just would stab her in the face. Guess what? Jenny ain't going to try to point the gun in because what's the point now? The leader is dead. You have nothing. You don't have to even say, if you do this, I do this. No, I already killed her. Done.
Yeah, there's absolutely. And again, you know, this is the TV stuff, right? Because when I got the drop on you like that knife is going right in your neck, like right away. Done. It's over. You're done. It's over. All right.
Yo, what did you do? Let's lay down.
yeah, let's go home. You know, but it's a TV show because if it was, the show's over, right? He does that, the show's over. So they can't just kill everybody. Like, because even we said, like, there's times where Negan's in the room and it's just the fucking Dharma and the Korat, and we're like, Negan could take these two out easy like that.
Yeah.
Simple.
Just kill her.
Yeah.
No more risk. Done.
Show's over. You know what I mean?
The Korat already proved just with a little push you can off her Dharma. So why can't you do it, Negan?
Facts. 100%. Exactly, JG. Exactly. Yo, Korat did what Negan could have done a long time ago.
Exactly.
And he's old as hell. Like, all he did was he looks like the Crypt Keeper, you know, from Tales of the Crypt. He just pushed her little ass over and she fell over like a sack of bricks. Like, you know,
dare you call me the Crypt Keeper? I will come to your house and assassinate with my guys.
The only thing I'll say is that they still have Negan's family against him. But again, we don't really know if they have the family or they just know where the family's going or whatever. They have a spy. So, but it kind of like
they just kill one. Just kill the Dharma.
Right, because they don't have fucking phones to call everybody. Like, so how they fucking communicating with pigeons?
Yeah,
you know I mean?
Showing a picture of my family on iPhone. Like, what are we doing? No, we have no idea. So, you know, I have a chance of you being dead.
You can just kill her and say she's tripped and fell. She's old enough. I mean,
Facts.
Oh no, she fell right into the fire.
Yeah.
Oh.
So before they get in there, Negan has a conversation and he's like, listen, I don't like the way she treats you. You know what I mean? You're the one that is doing everything, and she treats you better than she treats that rat. And this is when I said, because when I watched the episode, I was like, yep, Brian was right. Because we were discussing last week of who's Negan going to try to manipulate, right? And I was saying there's a possibility that Negan might try to cut the Croat out and get closer to the Dharma, right? Seems like Negan didn't have to do that because the Dharma was already kind of giddy with Negan. I'm not going to say she trusted Negan or anything, but she was giddy with Negan. And her patience with the Croat were running thin, right? So now Negan did what Brian said he was going to do, is he works on that with the Croat. He knows what she's going to say when she finds out that the Croat killed that group, because she knows they needed that group. They needed the people, right?
So you need an army. You can't kill 70 people and think that's a good idea.
Exactly. So Negan knows that before I get in here, I'm going to plant the seed in your head, right? And that's exactly what he's doing. So he goes inside and, you know, he's like, oh, you don't know the Dharma's sweet, you know, but he's like, don't sweat what the Dharma's saying. I got your back. JG, what do you think about this part, this conversation?
I mean, like you said, you know, just planting the seed, trying to get the manipulation started, because like I say, enemy is my friend. Everyone's trying to survive. Everyone's trying to get something from each other. And he can't get anything out of Dharma. So what's the next bit? The person that idolizes him the most, which is the Croat.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100%.
You know, next week I'm going to try to do the whole stream in my Croat voice. See how that works. I'm going to try it.
You can try it, just don't kill your voice, because that's
I already heard it at last.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It probably kind of hurt doing that, you know what I mean? But yeah, so we get back to Percy, and this is the second conversation that they're having, and they're talking about, you know, she gives him the bag. She says, pick one, talking about a bird and saying the bird used to predict things that would happen all the time. And she's like, did the bird really know it? Or, you know, basically was the bird getting help, you know? So
he said, oh, the answer, you make it seem like it's the answer by you putting seed with where the bird is. So you're manipulating the answer.
Yes, exactly. And then she said the bird got some help. And then she shows the rocks, and every rock is the same pretty much in there. So saying, yes, the bird did pick certain things, and yes, certain things did happen, but the bird got help. You know what I mean? So very interesting, that conversation. And again, these are conversations that to me is going to, and I think when Pearlie joins up with the Bruegel, I think he's going to think about doing it for good reasons, but it's not going to turn out good reasons. You know what I mean?
That's possible.
Yeah, so I think he's doing it. But Negan and Croat are having a conversation. They're there with the Dharma, and Negan's trying to like, oh, we got surrounded. He had no choice. What he had to do, he had to kill them. And you know what? I know it's going to give me a claim, but we're gonna get to this part here because I think this is very interesting.
Surrounded the second we got there. The Croat hadn't showed up when he had.
Do you think I'm stupid? I gave you explicit instructions.
I guess I don't understand why this is.
I'm not speaking to you. I am speaking to him.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you keep insisting on compromising every fucking thing I built?
You built.
What am I? Is the rat in your fucking maze?
Yep.
No, worse than the rat. At least he has a little prize waiting for him.
Now, Negan has no expression on his face, but Negan knows, gotcha.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's
Dance
what I feel
puppet,
is running through.
dance
Yeah,
puppet.
exactly. I gotcha. This is exactly what I was waiting for. And Negan did it in such a way to where it made it seem like, yeah, I got the Croats back. You know, I'm the one making the excuses for the Croat. And she's like, nah, fuck him. You know what I mean? Nah, fuck him. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. What do you think, Brian? Go ahead, because you pretty much called this part.
No, it's exactly what he was going to do, and he was setting them up, and he kept on feeding them this information. And then all of a sudden, you know, it turns out, and he's just like he's sitting back, looking proud of the work he's done, and he it's like word for word, everything he said, that's what the Croat is bringing up. You see the fire, and you can see him no longer thinking about what's going on because he doesn't see that he needs to be able to plan better. He doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't care about the having of a partner. And Negan knew it's easier to manipulate the Croat than it would be the Dama, because the Dama is a smarter person. And how did he learn that? When he was sitting at that dinner table, and he found out she was a critic and she was someone who manipulated masses all the time with her information. So he knew immediately, okay, I have to go with this guy because I know him. And it's easy to manipulate him because he doesn't think, she does.
Facts. That makes a lot of sense. JG.
Yeah, he's been planting seeds the whole time. Early he says, "Hey, why do you take her shit, man? Like, you know what we do with our boys, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, man, why you keep taking that shit?"
Situation. I wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And the whole time, he's like, the whole time he's setting you up to take your girl, basically, right? So this kind of similar situation where, hey, like you said, Brian, I can't manipulate her. She got the game on lock. I got to go to the next step. What's the next step? And Negan's always 2-3 steps ahead. Even when someone falls short, he has something already in motion that go next. And manipulated him. And this situation right here, when he said, "Oh, I got your back," and he shows that he has his back for his own personal reasons. And what does Dama do? "Why do you keep fucking up? You always doing that, blah, 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 blah." And what's the crow do? Snaps. And like you said, Enzo, gotcha. Dance, puppets, dance. Now, I don't think Negan knew he was going to kill her, but he knew.
Yeah. I think Negan's plan was to at least get the Croat on his side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where the Croat will more or less listen to what he says instead of the Dharma. But you're right. I didn't think it would go that far, right? Because if the Dharma is the only one that knows like about Negan's kid, that's going to be an issue, especially the fact that she's pretty much dead. So, but I think the Croat knows too.
Croc could say, "No, you need me to be able to find them. I have the manpower. I know what's going on. I might not know now, but I have the manpower to find out. And you need me to be able to figure those answers." And that's 100%. What makes Negan to go look at. I need another group that I can actually trust.
He knows the Croat more too, so that probably plays into his decision. He can manipulate him more easy due to their past. 100%. And we've seen those seeds being planted in other episodes, like the episode where the boat was coming and the Croat's telling the story. Negan takes over the story, has a little smile on his face and there. But I still think that the Croat is not 100% on board with Negan because he knows that Negan is not the Negan that he used to follow. You know what I mean? And he does say in one of these episodes, I don't like seeing you like this. This is not the Negan I know. So that's why I feel like it's not going to be just easy for Negan to be like, "Hey, okay, I'm going to leave now. Bye, Croat. You can handle this yourself." But I'm going to be like, no, you ain't fucking going nowhere yet. You know what I mean? And he said, "If you do, I will make sure that your family dies." So I think that's kind of where they're going to go with that too, especially with what happened, So we get to this scene outside here, man, and it's pretty much going to be an execution where they're going to execute Roxanne. And I'm sorry, but they did her dirty, okay? Because they put her in there, they're hanging her up, and she's talking to her crew. "I'll always be there with you. I'll always be there for you." Like she was giving inspiration, and boom.
And you asked me, you said my last words. You going to interrupt me?
She ain't got no time. She ain't got no time for that. I said last words, not a paragraph.
Facts.
Like, I ain't got time for this. Next.
They said, "Bitch, you talking too much." And turn her ass up. I was like, yo. And then so we always knew that, New Babylon isn't a great spot. This just shows, and when they hung the guy up, when they got Maggie to come in there, but they didn't even let her. So they're brutal. They're just as brutal as the Croat is. You know what I mean? So I think that's after
that's what Negan says, though, right? Negan says you don't want either of these groups taking over for you.
100%. And not to mention, Now, I mean, pretty much after what happens in this scene, I think most of New Babylon is dead, and that's where the new alliance is gonna come in with Bruegel and Pearlie. So what do you think of this scene, JG?
I mean, it was kind of funny to me. It was like, all the words, all the inspirational quotes, all the stuff you're saying, everybody, all the stuff they were
Right
doing,
here.
and she just kicks the thing like, "No, I ain't got time for this." Next, right?
Right here.
And here we go.
Oh, they did it already. Shit. Hold
Okay.
on.
All go
Right here.
where we've always been. I'll see you all very soon.
Ain't got no time for that.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Fuck, she said, "Fuck this," and I didn't notice that she gave the hand signal too until just now.
Yeah.
Like, she went. You know what I
She
mean?
doing too much. Get rid of her.
What's
What
up, Fernando?
What
How
up,
you
Fernando?
doing, brother? Peace. So she said, "Yeah, snap that neck." Brian, what are your thoughts?
Man, that was messed up and so bad. And you know what? They made it be messed up because you knew you were gonna get vengeance in this episode. That's what made it so smart. Go ahead, bro. I'm gonna let it be real messed up because you're gonna have to pay for everything. You know what I'm saying? Did she really deserve it? Oh yeah, she deserved everything that's coming to her.
Facts, 100%. So yeah. So JG, go ahead.
I was laughing, man. And she did it with no hesitation too, bro. It's like, this is an evil ass woman. I'm sorry.
Facts. 100%.
She might be worse than Negan was way back to Crow at, because you can't have her running anything. Because she is
no
evil.
emotions. She has
No emotions.
None
Right, probably
whatsoever.
the weakest, softest one out the bunch. But like I said earlier, she has an army behind her. She thinks she's tough until the real situation happens, and she just. It's fun. I'm sorry, it's funny.
You can give that chair a Spartan kick. This is Sparta. It's literally.
So now her people start moaning, and they're doing a little moaning thing, and you can see that the zombies are hearing this now, and the horde is going to break through the fence. But before they do that, they're like, "No, we getting rid of Maggie first." So they pin Maggie up there because they're about to kill her off. Herschel goes crazy. They're still moaning, right? Zombies break in. Now, what I found interesting is that the zombies came in and none of these motherfuckers moved. They all were like,
what are you doing? Turn your guns on the zombies. Start killing them.
100%. But it seemed like they were like, oh, well, if our leader is gone, then there's no sense for us to be around. So they pretty much.
So the people there,
them.
It makes total sense because they already said, we already know all these zombies are our brothers, our sisters. They're who we're going to become. So that they are. That's what they don't fear the zombies because they are already them. So they lost their leader. They're going back and they'll be together again as that group. And their brothers and sisters, their mothers, their fathers. That's who all are those zombies. So that's no problem. So that's just belief of their belief of their not religion, but their overall emotions. That goes along with it. So I thought that there's no doubt why they would go ahead and let this happen. My question is, why did New Babylon not be starting to turn around and start shooting more?
Facts, 100%. They should have been popping off all the zombies. Like they didn't even try to run. It seemed like they were just standing there, like waiting to die too. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not going. I would have went back in the house and locked the door. Like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I'll take my chances inside here. You know what I mean? Let you guys motherfuckers deal with these zombies for now. But JG, what do you think?
And I kind of wonder, the episode where, Bracy Alden, who Babylon got killed off. I wonder if those are the real soldiers, and what we got left is just the ones who really were worth it. Because none of them were actually, you got gun, nobody using anything. Look at her. Just the weakest one. Dude, man, look.
It's funny that you say that because I could see this series ending with maybe Negan or Maggie pretty much running New Babylon, right? Running it their way, because I know that New Babylon is not just about the army that they have. They have people, like they have a community, right?
They're taking over.
exactly. And now that those heads are gone, maybe Pearlie's gonna end up leading it. You know what I mean? Maggie goes back to her group.
He gotta die.
You guys need to stop
Pearlie
with the
leading
Pearlie,
it.
hey man. And it's not
I don't
working.
even Maggie leading anything. She
I don't-
working.
I don't want to take a job away from any black man. I really don't. You know, I want him around as long as I can, as long as he can be around. But I don't see it, man. I think he.
I'm sorry.
Pearlie got it's a ticking time clock right now. I think all of a sudden something's going to happen. He's going to do something stupid, and someone's going to accidentally kill him.
No, like Mike Coulter, he needs to go.
Facts.
Get out of here. He
Facts.
just needs to go, bro. I'm
Facts.
sorry. I can't.
Facts.
Well, just like Mike Coulter, he'll come back as a zombie.
Yeah, that's what.
Hey, long you off him again. I don't care. Bring it back. Get off again. I don't care.
So while Maggie's pinned up there, Herschel tries to go to save Maggie, but gets caught by Navarro. And then Jenny comes and saves Maggie. And I was like, this bitch.
I would have kicked her in the face.
This is your fucking fault. All of this shit is your fault because you put a gun on me twice. You know what I mean? Like, this is your fault. So a little bit too late.
So it's Maggie's fault. She should have slit her woman's throat and then killed Jenny right afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't think Jenny would shoot anybody. I think she's using it as like a fear tactic.
Facts. Jenny wasn't shooting anybody, but you're right. Maggie should have slit that throat right away. As soon as she snuck up behind him, should have shoved that knife in the throat. Done. So I'm right there with you, Jay.
And then she walks up. She was walking to Jenny, says, "What you gonna do with that?" and snatches the gun away from her.
Facts. Because Jenny may be holding the gun against people and like she want, but I don't think she's ever killed a human yet. So it's not as easy as it is a zombie. You know what I mean? Like that's a real flesh and blood human. So
I mean, you didn't talk for a year after your father died. So what do you think is gonna happen when you kill somebody? Nah.
Facts. So Maggie ends up going to chase Navarro because she has Herschel in her arms, and the zombies are just wiping out everybody, like New Babylon, Roxanne's crew, everybody. They're just wiping out everybody. And then as they're running, Roxana as a zombie.
It's so funny because Roxanne, she's not a mindless, brainless zombie. She went after one person.
Facts.
She came after her. Navarro, you're dying. This is what's happening. Navarez, whatever. She's like, you're dying immediately. I'm back. Came back. I told you I'm coming back. I have risen as a zombie, and now you got to go.
Facts. I was kind of like, fuck. I didn't think that they were gonna die, like, because
everybody died quick.
Yeah, like they just wiped out these two crews, like that. You know what I mean? Like Christo's group, and now this group, New Babylon, they wiped them out like that. So I'm like, where are they gonna go? So I know the Bruegel is still there. I think we're gonna find out the Bruegel's crew is a lot bigger than we think it is, and there's a possibility that, New Babylon, whatever is left of them, and the Bruegel team up to go take out the Croat. It's going to be very interesting to see where that goes.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Yeah, man.
Real quick. Do you think those zombies that were staying right by them actually recognized them and were fighting for them?
That would
be in some zombie movies, they usually say there's still the essence of their human side still there. So there's a possibility because they just turned. So,
and the reason that they bit them is because that was the only way to get them, because they were okay with it because they knew that they were going to turn into a zombie. That's part of what their beliefs are. So that's what they were fine with it. They bit them specifically for them to all team up to now kill New Babylon. So I wonder if this was actually intelligence.
You know what? Now that you say that, it kind of makes sense, right? Because when we watch Walking Dead and all these shows, the way zombies move around, they don't do it like these zombies stayed in that grass, hidden in that grass there. Like they've never moved. They never, built a horde and traveled someplace else. Like they're all
protection. They're all protection. They never tried to bang down the gate. The gate was fine where it was. They stayed on one side. The rest of the people stayed on the other. There was no problems. So I thought that was really interesting for that to happen.
Maybe it has something to do with them eating the heart, right? Because you know they take the dead heart, and they give it to the zombies. Maybe that's something to do with that.
It's
Could
like
be
a dog.
possibility.
Like not even saying that it's super intelligent, but like you how do we get dogs out of wolves? You feed them. You continue to do things for them. Then they start to say, okay, we're going to protect you. And this is what it comes out. They become that.
If people are listening, please don't try that at home.
Yeah, for real.
Please don't try to get a live wolf and try to feed them. Even though, yes, I agree with Brian. Don't try.
Facts.
Just in case.
Facts. What do you think? What do you think about what Brian said, though, JG?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, because we've seen zombie movies where, of course, they kind of went full out there.
Yeah.
You know, where there's some zombies that do retain some type of normalcy, some type of human side to them, right? So maybe this is a new form of zombie that they're going to bring out next season.
That would be interesting, and I could see that happening too, right? Because, like you said, you can watch shit. I hate to say it, but the Zack Snyder one, the zombies in there were kind of smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there was.
But is that like just like you said with the heart though? That might be something there's something to it. Being in the heart could be something to it.
There's some reason why they do that. Maybe they know. I don't know. Because even when they were doing all that, you know, maybe it's their way of calling them, like you said, Brian, they're their protectors. They knew by doing that they'll bring them in, and even though they got bitten, they're still together, right? Because like I said, I'll still be here with you, right? So it's interesting. Maybe it's their religion. Maybe it's something they found out through some other methods.
Maybe that's
don't see a regular. Yeah, I was gonna say a regular person feeding the heart without knowing what it would do by doing that.
Yeah, definitely would make some sense there. And I could see them doing something like that. You know what I mean? Because you could try something new with the zombie stuff. I get it. You've had so many shows and so many seasons where the zombies were the same, but sometimes you can say, hey, they're morphing into something different. You know what I mean? They're not morphing, mutating into something different. So you can always use that type of angle. And it's like, well, why they never? Well, it's been years, 10 years. Maybe it takes a long time for them to mutate into something else, something a little bit more smarter, something like, you know, like the stalkers in Last of Us, you know, something like that. So you can actually do that. It would make sense in the show like this. I don't think they'll go that far with it, but I do agree with you guys saying that maybe there was something there.
This will be a one shot. Only this crew, because they're doing the things with the heart and all that stuff, that, you know, they felt a connection with them. It was a two-way street, you know, and they're not as intelligent as regular humans, but are intelligent as a dog, as you know, as a cat or something like that. To that point,
and the fact that they're all dead now, you know what I mean? It's like, well, they could just do that again. No, the Gru's dead. Maggie probably never even seen it that way. You know what I mean? Like they're just blind to it. Like they don't care. But the people that are in the group actually know what's going on. But to Maggie, it's just like, the zombies are just being zombies. So
exactly,
that once they die, that thing is going to die with them, right? So yeah, like you said, it could be a one-off. I can definitely see that. So now we have the Dharma. She's lighting some candles. She turns around and she sees her little friend there squashed on the ground. I was like, Negan, you are a fucker. You know what I mean? Like there was no doubt in the mind it was Negan. We all knew it was Negan.
It wasn't a cry. He barely could walk around. He ain't gonna jump on
that. Facts. So now we have Maggie and Pearly. They're having a conversation. She's showing her wound. I can't remember. This is the part you were talking about where Herschel finally opens up and tells the truth, right? And I agree with you. I was at the same time, I was like, good, I'm glad you're at least telling the truth, which kind of makes me think that they might get a little bit closer and he might pull away from the Dharma. You know what I mean? So I think they might be working on something like that, which is interesting. Do you guys think that's going to happen?
Yes. Easy.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what his reaction is going to be when he finds out that Dom's dead. Will he have some reaction to it? So I'm sure he's going to find out.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So yeah, and again, so he was telling them what they did. You know, I swore she was like, "Oh, what happened?" He was like, "Oh, we just talked." And then I was like, "And she gave you a blowjob." Like, tell the truth. Tell the truth. You know what I mean? She gave you a blowjob, and it was the first one you ever had in your life. You bust a nut, and now you're sitting there and you're
If that
following
was
her.
the case, he would have been going after Jenny all the time. You know,
to get more.
yeah, there's more. Like, you don't start there. Like, you have mommy issues, but that's grandmommy issues. You have no
Yeah.
idea, for that. So
Well-
I don't think that's. It is.
Well, you may start there. You know what I mean? You get your little taste of what one of them old women trying to groom you. You get a little taste there, and now you're going after like Jenny. So yeah, I get.
I mean, there's cougars and there's like dead cats. Like that's
Oh God!
So yeah, so at least they're having a good conversation, telling the truth. JG, since we know how Brian felt about Herschel after the spot, did it change for you? Did he change for you?
It's going to take another episode or two for it to really sink in, right? Because everything he did, I mean, I don't hate him as much, but I never hated. He just irritated me.
Mhm.
Of course, that's his role. That's the way he's supposed to play. He's doing a perfect job. He's irritating the hell out of me. Because I like to say, everyone's been lying. Everyone's been deceiving everybody, right? Everyone has their own reasoning behind it.
Mhm.
His actions have resulted in a lot of bad things.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like Negan,
Yeah.
you have to. I don't know if there's enough he can do to repay what he has done or what he has helped cause.
Mhm.
Right now, this is the beginning for, I think, a healing. But I also think that Maggie needs to be more open and honest with him as well. I think when they
Agreed.
both become more honest with each other, then that relationship can get a lot better and closer. Until then, they're still kind of side eyeing each other.
I agree. I don't know if because I know Brian, you watched the first season recently. I don't know if it was in the first season of this or it was in the last season of Walking Dead, but there was one part where Herschel and Maggie are talking, and someone says, I think either Maggie, I think it's more Negan says, "Man, together we are unstoppable."
Yep.
And I definitely agree with that. I was like, together, Maggie
I was
and
thinking-
yeah, Maggie and Herschel together are fucking unstoppable for real. So I think we're gonna get to a point where they are going to, get together, and we're gonna see how unstoppable they are together. Go ahead, Brian.
I wonder
Facts,
if what's
Fernando.
going to happen is Herschel's going to find out that Negan set the Croat up to kill the Dama. So he finally accepts him, and then the other person other than his mother that he kind of trusted a little bit, he finds that Negan killed her basically in a way too.
That'd be interesting.
As long as you might bring them together, but if you ever wanted to fall apart, it's all the seeds are right there for it to fall apart again.
Interesting. Fernando said, I don't understand Maggie's approach with everything. You know what? I was right there with you. Brian kind of explained it to me. And when you think about it more, she's a mother, right?
Mhm.
She's a mother who's trying to have faith in her kid, right? And she pretty much knows if she tells the truth, comes at him a certain way, she may push him off even further. So she's being very careful with how she deals with Herschel. So that's kind of what I feel about that. But I agree with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't play that. We put your hey, what'd you say? Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Did you like that shit? Yes or fucking no? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear no changing the subject or nothing like that. So yeah, and
I'm gonna say there's no timeouts in The Walking Dead, guys.
Fact.
As much as I don't say you don't beat your kids, we're not a zombie apocalypse. Sometimes you have to know, you have to learn quickly. And quick learning is a butt whooping.
Yeah.
Facts. Facts, 100%. So now we see Maggie and Pearlie come out, and sure enough, the Bruegel is standing there, and he's like, "Oh, I guess I missed all the fun." So now we're gonna get a connection with the Brugal, and of course Pearlie, because we've seen the trailer. So Pearlie's going to be more interested in getting to know them, and Maggie's going to be like, nah, I don't trust this guy. And trust me, he's someone you can't trust. So I feel like, that's going to be an issue. But we get to the good part now, where Croat's like, okay, Dharma, I'm ready to talk now. I'm calmed down. We have a lot to talk. Waste no more time. And then he walks into the room, and he sees the rat on the floor, and she asks,
Are you calling the shots now? You're
up a bit.
running this show. Is that it? Is that the message you're trying to send? Enlighten me, please.
Dama, I don't understand.
So now she's telling him, I pulled you out the gutter, and I saved you, and this and that. But the Croat wasn't having it.
Without me.
Croat says,
You are nothing without me. I am giving you new life. I am
Oh,
giving you
miracle.
everything.
so Croat pretty much goes off and says, no. And again, this is Negan's seed, right? This is what Negan's planted in his head, because he's pretty much saying everything that Negan said. And if you go back and watch previous episodes, like before Negan started talking, that he was always saying, no, you don't understand the Dharma. No, she's this, and no, she's that. So now you plant those seeds to where she's not appreciating you, and then you see her not appreciating you, you blow up. And that's exactly what he did. And then the Dharma, who's a biter, decides to bite his ass, right?
A proud, pathetic little queen.
Dude, if I was sorry, grab my hand, you would get the fastest uppercut ever.
Facts.
Come on.
Facts. So he gets away, he pushes her down, she falls down, some shit falls on top of her, and I guess I gotta play till I get it.
Help! Neely! Neely, please help me! Get me out! Help me!
Oh no, she did.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, she bacon burnt over there. She gone.
look at it. That's insane. How can she still be alive? That's why I don't understand. Like she's like all these things in one hand. Everything else is like fire.
Yeah. Fernando said Negan is playing chess 100%. And I think we've talked about this in other episodes where it's like Negan is 2 steps ahead of everybody, right? But I think we're going to find out that someone, maybe not the Dharma now, but maybe the Croat is, or if the Croat takes over from the Dharma, that they're not above Negan, but they're like right there with him. Like, we're using you to do this, but we still don't trust you that much. You know what I mean? Because it's too easy if Negan is just 2 steps ahead of everybody. There has to be some conflict and some kind of like, oh, they're not as stupid as we thought they were type of vibe, What do you guys think?
I think he did too much. He underestimated somebody, and he thought he already knew what the Brugal was going to do. He was going to fall in line, and Brugal's going to surprise him with his move. So he thought he was playing chess with these two, while they're playing checkers or tiddlywinks. So I don't know what the hell they're doing, but But then he's going to find out that the other person on the board was never those two. Brugal.
It's Brugal. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's going to change everything.
I think that I hate that these two, these 2 people here we see died the way they did. It was, now I don't hate the fact that they died, just how they died. It's like, oh, I was wanting a more painful death. But I have a feeling that the crowd's going to realize it was Negan that killed that rat.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Confront him, and Negan's gonna be like, "Well, you killed the Dharma. I got something you want. You got something I want. Let's work together." Right? That's such a Negan thing to do.
You don't think he's gonna say, "I did it for you"?
Oh,
it's possible. Too. But then, Croat killed Dharma, so you want an army? I want my wife and kid and get the fuck out of here. What we gonna do? Right? Yeah. But like you said, we got the Brugal coming out of the shadows now, and he knew what was going on the whole time, talking about something. Oh, I was late to the motherfucker. You were there the
Facts.
whole time.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
saw
yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
So,
The fact that you just showed up right then and there.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
you were there
you
the
know
whole
what's
time.
going on.
Yeah.
So, but even then, I think that once the Bruegel resurfaces again, Negan can't leave just yet because you got another obstacle you got to get through.
Mm-hmm.
I
That was
don't
gonna be
think that's
interesting.
what's going to happen, guys. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is the Croat is going to tell him you can leave. Negan doesn't leave
Really? No, I don't. No.
because of Herschel, Maggie, yeah, all and Jenny.
Maybe. Yeah,
that connection is huge.
Yeah.
He regrets this Glenn thing so much, and I can see him staying because he feels like unfinished business. Once I walk away, I want to be done. Walk away. I'm going to the sunset, but I need to make sure they're okay because
that's possible.
He did with Jenny. He killed Jenny's father, so he took care of her, made sure she was okay. He took Glenn away, so he has to make sure Glenn's family is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
thought you were saying he was gonna stay to help the Croat build his army, but no, you're saying,
no.
You're saying he's staying there to make sure that the people involved, like Maggie, Herschel, and Jenny, are okay. So yeah, I can definitely see that. That makes sense.
I can't enjoy my happiness unless I know they're safe.
Yeah. Like for example, I feel like Negan's not leaving without everybody. You know what I mean? Like if I'm leaving, we're all going. That means you, Maggie, Herschel, and we're gonna leave when we know that we don't have to deal with these fucking people anymore. So I agree. I agree with that. We have Negan. He's there and he's just peeling the freaking guts off of the bottom of his shoe. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm sorry, and I know people fell off of The Walking Dead. They didn't like it, but I always thought Negan was always the high points of those seasons for me. Right? When they didn't show Negan, I was like, oh man, another episode without Negan. But I think when Negan was involved, I think I perked up a little bit more. I enjoyed the episodes a little bit more. Like the episode where they went and this is when Rick started to get his balls back, and Negan had Carl, and he's like, I'm gonna cut off his hand, right? And then they get saved by Hilltop and a fucking tiger and with Ezekiel. And niggas like, they got a fucking tiger. You know what I mean? Like his reaction is so funny. And so I really like, for me to a lot more Negan. So that's why I'm loving it.
I feel like it's going from a heel to a babyface turn.
Yeah, 100%.
But once again, everyone's saying is Dead City foreshadowing Negan dying. If he dies, this entire show dies.
100%. 100%. That's what Fernando said. He said Negan is the show. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You know what I mean? So, and I think, and again, I really feel like all of these shows are going to connect in one big movie or something sooner or later down the line, right? I think they're just gonna finish off the Dead City. They're probably gonna finish off Daryl Dixon, and then they're probably gonna Fear the Walking Dead is done. The other one's done. Yeah, so they just got to finish off those two. And then when those two series are done, then we're going to get a whole movie type of thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, that was a rumor a while back. So I think World Beyond was supposed to play a role. That show sucked. Was supposed to play a role in, and all this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, Negan has become the anti-hero. Absolutely, 100%. And I think sooner or later, by this season's done, he's going to be a full-fledged hero, like a Rick Grimes type of hero. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be the one that saves everybody. Maggie's there too, but I think him and Maggie are going to be unstoppable, but he's going to be the one to show that he's really changed and that he was the hero. So he's cleaning off this, and that's the end of the episode, and we'll watch the trailer in a bit. But guys, what did you think of this episode? What's your grades?
Overall, I mean, it was a really good episode. This had a lot more entertaining things, and we got some payoff. It's important for shows like this to have some payoff. They're showing you seeds, and we're going to tell you, okay, all those things we showed you in the last 3 episodes, finishing them right here. And now we have a new thing, a new problem, and we're going to kind of go up to the finale. So we're going to see the second to last one is going to be a really good episode, and then we see the finale that goes on. I think it's important that you got this satisfaction in here, and this is probably I've not given an A this entire season, and I'm going to give it an A right now. It's the first A I've given.
Fernando, I'm right there with you. I've given every episode
A plus.
I give every episode an A
Yep,
plus,
I agree.
and every episode is an A plus for me. JG, what about you?
A plus, man. I've enjoyed every single episode. I mean,
Me too.
This is probably one of the, besides the Pink one, this is probably the only other show where I've given every episode A plus.
Yeah,
I know you don't like the Penguin. I know you like the Penguin. I know you don't like.
You could have
freaking enjoyed that show, bro. I don't care.
You could have said the fucking show that need not be named on this fucking channel. We don't talk about the Penguin on this channel. The Penguin, the Batman, Dark Knight Returns. We don't talk about none of that shit over here. All right.
All those people that were going to come and subscribe to you just ruined it right there. Hanzo.
I try to throw you a bone, get some more subscribers in here.
You know what, guys? I loved all those movies. I'm just playing with you. I'm just trolling.
It wasn't even a movie; it's a show. See, you already messed up.
No, I meant the Nolan stuff and Batman.
Yeah, sure.
Loves it all.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
That's my
Fernando said, I heard a long time ago they were doing a huge crossover movie. Me too.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, even though some of the shows ended, some of the shows ended in a way where it was like, well, you know, we could find out what happened more, right? Fear the Walking Dead. Morgan and his son went off. His daughter went off looking for Rick, right? So we don't know what happened to them, and they left with like 6 episodes or like half a season, I think, in Fear the Walking Dead, right? They left in the first half and they were gone, so we still have that. That season ended with Morgan and her daughter walking away. Her daughter, who was bitten and should have turned into a zombie but didn't, right? So they still have to do that, you know what I mean?
Find out there's a cure.
Oh yeah. Hey, it's possible that we could be going down that way where there is actually a cure to this, you know what I mean? I mean, I think that would kind of be the best way. If you're going to close off Walking Dead and finish it off completely, finish it off with someone finding a cure. You know what I mean?
You're going to save everyone that's already a zombie, but you're going to be able to kill off all the zombies.
Yes.
Save everyone who's alive so that they don't turn to zombies.
Exactly.
Now you starting all over again.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You know what I mean? So I could definitely see that. But yeah, and that's why I say, so I'm with you, Fernando. A huge crossover movie to end it like that would be absolutely fire for me. So we're going to watch the trailer for next week before we get out of here, guys. Let's check it out. Hold on, let me make sure the volume is up. This I can play because I usually don't mess around when I play the trailer. It's just when I play the rest of the show, but it is what it is. Watch it.
Dom's dead. What happens next?
Oh,
What if I could give you the methane?
Bruegel can't be trusted. If he is willing to double-cross the Croat, why not you?
He's offering me a chance to finish it. Tell me another way.
What is that? Chloe!
Yo, that bear scene. I don't know if that bear is like, you know, been bitten and is like kind of a zombie bear.
He's a zombie bear. I will lose.
Fuck, if they do that, that shit will be lit. That shit will be lit, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, so we kind of get confirmation that the Dharma is dead. She's dead. So I got to watch that video to see why they think she's not dead. But I mean, technically, I always thought she was dead. But yeah, she's dead, right? So and when Negan says, "Where do we go from here?" I believe that's when the core is going to be like, "We still continue what we're doing." You know what I mean? We're going to stop New Babylon and stuff like that. We're going to continue to do what we're doing. And I think Negan's going to ask to leave, and Korra's going to be like, "Nah."
I can see him just saying, we're going to go attack the rest of the New Babylon people, and we're going to kill all of them, and then we can go back to our lives. And then that's when Negan says he doesn't leave because he wants to make sure that Maggie is okay, you know, that you know, Herschel is okay, that Jenny is okay. Those are his people, so he can't leave them because of that.
Yeah. JJ, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I agree. And it's just like, everyone's, like I said, everything's it's open season now. Everyone's fighting for supremacy. Everyone's fighting to be the top. So which side are you going to be on? Right. And I think these next couple of episodes going to be crucial to that. But we get that zombie bear, bro. Oh my God.
Dude. Absolutely. Fernando said next episode is going to be Fire, which is tomorrow night. Well, I will get it at midnight tonight, but I'm going to stream it. We're going to do it before it drops so you guys can come over here and watch it with us as long as we're free or whatever. So we're definitely going to do the watch party for that episode tomorrow, which is going to be Fire. So make sure to check us out. Brian, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
You can see me on the Spoiler Kings in about 30 minutes because we'll be going live talking about all the fun things. We have a lot of trailers to look at. I'm going to probably complain about the Black Panther a little bit less than I did last time because I went to most of the show without that one. We'll talk about all the fun stuff. We'll talk about the movies that we saw because I saw Ballerina. So we talked about that. We already talked about all the other stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. We'll kind of dissect the Ballerina and talk about what are the good things and the bad things and where's the franchise going to go from there and have fun tonight. So
absolutely, make sure to check that out. He said, how long do you think the little girl will be able to keep her bite a secret? So she wasn't bitten. I know it looked like she was hiding a bite, but no, when the zombie pushed her back, she put like a nail or something went into her side. I don't know what that was, right? So now maybe they might end up thinking it was a bite, but no, it wasn't a bite. She actually got cut. So
what if she gets something that's real, normal,
like an infection or something?
That's
right?
It's probably infected.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Which would be another reason why they would need to do things or make an alliance with somebody to get her help. So I could see something like that happen. Definitely. JG, take us home, brother. He said, wait,
yo,
hold on a second. He said, oh, wow, okay, I thought she was bitten. Now, go back to watch the scene. Actually, hold on, I'll show you if I can find it.
The zombie pushed her back and something got in her. Yeah,
the zombie pushed her back. And as the zombie's pushing her back, you could see it go into her side. I can't find it, but yeah, it's there. It's there. JG, you know what to do, brother.
Yes, sir. Big Fred Entertainment. If it gets 10 more subscribers, I will do the next stream in my Croat voice. I would attempt the entire stream.
Yes.
Jin Shaolin Terrific, the undefeated, undisputed final boss of the 36 champs of Shaolin. Wee! Shout out to the black martial artist, movie actor Jim Kelly, Unzo.
I got it.
Thank you all for tuning in live for another primetime fire review of Dead City Season 2, Episode 5. You can catch me live Wednesday nights on the OOC with the host Onzo, aka the Abbott, and the Osiris of the Spliff King, and the Professor of Gunja, alongside his co-host Roberto, aka Mr. 100, aka No Trouble Did It Ain't Gonna Be Irie. No woman, no cry. Boop, boop, boop. And I got to shout out one more person. Everybody else, I don't feel like it, but I will shout this man out. Look at him. The giant himself. The man who should be cast as Luke Cage. My fan casting. F you, Mike Coulter. The behemoth. The man with a plan. 1/3 of the Spoiler Kings. The Titans of YouTube. The real Yasuke, everybody. Brian the Grizzly.
Yes, guys. Great show. Appreciate everybody that came in here. You know what I mean? And had a little discussion. Brian earlier thinks he has more swag than me, but we ain't doing none of that because he copied 2 of my pair of my shoes. You see them in the picture? You see? Yeah, you see them in the picture.
No, he's right. I did get those shoes that he already has, but I have at least 15 other ones that he has no idea about. So
y'all need all those pairs of shoes, man.
And I'm pretty sure I have the shoes that he has as well. I'm just saying. I noticed that he was like,
"Oh, you know what I want to do?" Because next Saturday, I turned 40. My 40th birthday. Nice. I'll do a little short stream. I am. I'll show a short stream about all the shoes I got, and I'll put all the 13s up top. Pull the 11s on the bottom, and then show you the rest of the 40 ones I got. So we'll do that.
Well, you know, if there's any you don't want, you can send them my way. I'll be what size you wear, brother?
15.
You know, the last time that happened to me, I ended up going out and just buying shoes like crazy because the dude I used to have my business with, you know, I bought a pair of shoes, boom, pound in it, and then he seen that I got them, and then the next day I went to work, he had 3, boom, 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 and I was like, oh, so this is what we're doing, really? I just bought a shoe because I needed a shoe, but this is what we're doing, and then I went out and bought 3, boom, then a picture. So
once again, my wife knows it's my birthday is my 40th birthday. People don't only buy me gifts; they buy me Jordans. This is what they do.
Yeah, me too. The only problem with me is, and the reason why I don't have as much as I should or I could is because I only like certain ones. You know what I mean?
You only like the 13s and 12s.
That's it.
12's my favorite.
Yeah, basically that's it for me. So I'm not gonna go and buy all the other ones and just to buy them. You know what I mean? So that's why it's every like
I like
couple
the
months,
11s, the 6, the 5s, the 3s, and the 1s. So you know
that's why. The only other ones I will wear other than the Jordans are the Air Force Ones, the ones I showed the picture of today. Like those ones are kind of fire. Like the silk, they were like a shiny blue patent leather type of shit with a silver swish on it. I was like, oh, these are fire. And that's the only reason, like at this point now, I'm like, if I see, especially when it comes to Air Force Ones, if I buy it, it has to be something that looks different. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna buy a regular white and black Air Force Ones or black and white or something like that. Have to look.
I'll show you my Tiger Woods 12s.
Oh,
my Tiger Woods 12s. Fire.
That doesn't make any sense.
Do
you wear all those shoes? I'm just curious. Do you wear all of them?
So I do.
No, Hondo.
I'm the boss, right? So what I do is I'll go 2 months and not wear the same shoe.
That's ridiculous.
But you see, JG, I have a closet of about 30 that I haven't even put on my.
That doesn't make any sense, dude.
And it's funny because when I'm dressing, right, and I'm like, oh shit, those shoes would go good with this, and I'm like, yeah, but I never wore them yet. Do I really want to wear these? Especially when I know I have ones that I wore that kind of match. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna save these. Like it has to be stuff. I don't know. I'll show you. I'll show you a picture because my girl, it drives her up a while. She's like, you never even wear your shoes.
So I need to go to a Jordan Anonymous thing or something.
I wear mine, and then before I put them back into the boxes, I have this
I wash them.
Boxes. I clean them off, brush them off real quick.
The Jason Marks?
Yep.
The Jason Marks? Yeah, exactly. I got you.
Put them up, and now that they're ready to go for the next time.
I just the ones I paid so the blue ones I bought today, and then the Carmelos that I bought, I don't know when I'm gonna ever wear those ones, if I ever do. You know what I mean? They're just there, so it has to be something that. Because even when Wu-Tang comes, I already know which ones I'm gonna wear. It's gonna be a new one, but it's gonna be the black and yellow ones I have because Wu-Tang black and yellow. You know what I mean? So that's the one
he bought those black and yellows after I got my black and yellows. I'm just like,
yeah, whatever. I didn't even know him when I brought those ones, just so you guys know. But hey, man, it was fun. Thank you guys. I'm gonna let Brian get over to his show real quick, so make sure you guys go and check it out. You know, most of you are already on the channel already, so you can just stay there because it'll be starting up soon. JG, I appreciate you coming in with us this week since you missed like 3 fucking weeks in a row.
Hey. You know, the wife goes first, and then the daughters. Well, yeah, both of them first.
Shit. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah, like the anniversaries, birthdays. It was crazy.
You have to do the work, though. I do the work ahead of time to make sure.
Like
before I looked out on the stream, guys, I took my wife and my girls to the ice cream place. And they got some nice ice cream, so they leave daddy alone for a couple hours, and then I'll go upstairs. I'll spend another half an hour with them, put them to bed, and then get back.
Hey, it's funny. Wu-Tang forever. You're damn right, Fernando. 100%. It's funny because I was right there today. I'm in here playing tournament 2K, and there's a tournament going on. I have one every Friday, right? Every Saturday, right? Usually I get my ass whooped. I play this. You can play if you lose 3 times, you're out. So usually every day I play. I'm like 3, maybe 4 games. I'm out. Today I was killing it, but I had to go because we had to get out the house. You know what I mean? So I had to cut it off, and so you got to do them things first. 100%. Happy life, happy wife. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what it is. Wu-Tang forever, guys. Peace, love, and hair grease, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.